Hi, is the legal system working for you? Well, we want to bring you awareness today so that you can know your legal rights. You're watching the Share Today show with me, your host, Sensaria Baldwin, and we'll be back in a moment. And welcome back. Let's talk about one of the young ladies that actually stood before the public and gave her comments as to or pertaining to the legal system letting her down and how she had to defend herself in the legal system.
Okay. We had a young woman named Julie that was in a very abusive relationship and feared for her life. When she got the courage to call for help from the police, they came to the house, and she had been threatened and violated in different ways. And when the police came to take the report, she had to actually write her own report. And in her words, she felt like she was not treated as a victim, but she was treated like it was her fault this had happened to her. One of the other things that she mentioned was when the police left to come back with a camera to take pictures of the marks around her neck and the bruises on her body, he came back, a male police officer came back alone and with the camera, and she had to again reveal herself.
So she felt violated
yes,
again.
all over again. She also talked about how he was arrested and taken into the court. They released his tether from him without notifying her, and she discovered it by him finding him stalking her, and that's how she discovered it was off. He was also let out of jail, and she was not notified. As a matter of fact, to this day, she doesn't know where he is. He could be stalking her around in the area. They've told her he's out of state, but that could be possible and maybe not. But she lives not knowing whether he is around or not.
What do we think, or what do you think, personally think about the system? What could the system do a lot better for her situation?
Well, and Julie made it clear, there are policies and procedures in place, but they're not always followed. And I think you need to have an attitude about domestic violence. You need to it is not the victim's fault. I don't care what someone does, they don't need to be beaten, they don't need to be abused. So to have someone feel that it's their fault is totally unacceptable in our society. The other thing is, we need, as a society, to take a stand and say that this is not an acceptable way. Not only we're not going to blame the victim, but we're not going to accept that as part of our life. And I think until we all do that, and we put others on notice that it's not acceptable, we're going to continue to have that increase. We had a lot, she said a lot, and the policies and procedures are in place, but it takes an attitude from the people that are enforcing those policies, and it takes a re-education of the very simplest policies and procedures to be reminded, and it takes those in charge not to accept anything less.
Okay. And in saying that, we're going to take a look at Julie, and we're going to see some of the things that she shared with the public and how the system let her down, the legal system that is, and how she had to defend herself in the legal system.
The first time that I called to have him arrested took me a couple hours, and of course he threatened me that I would go to jail, that type of thing, for defending myself. However, when the cops showed up, the ambulance people were very respectful. They were the ones who covered me after the clothes were ripped off and the sweatshirt open. And the police officers challenged, the police officer actually left to go get a camera. After he took my story, his brief notes were, he jotted them down real quick and almost made me the fault of the situation. Either way, he ended up being arrested. However, there wasn't a whole lot of leg that I had to stand on as far as like what I was saying had happened. They didn't write the report. I wrote out my form. He rushed me through that. So what could have been probably 4 or 5 pages ended up being 1.5, and you hope that that's enough for the judge to see through. So long story short, when he's on this tether, he actually is able to talk the courts into, I don't know how he did this, the county clerk. He was able to talk them into letting him into the city because he had to work. And then when I called to say that he was ordered out of these cities, because I had to follow up on everything that was ever done, They said, well, he has to work too. The tether was removed without me being notified. And just to mention, this was the second time he was arrested. The tether had actually gotten removed. And when his PO officer, who was also very kind and friendly to me and supportive, when she was calling the tether place to find out if it had been removed, they told her it hadn't. When I called, they said it hadn't. So we had a discrepancy. So I said, we need to figure this out. Finally, she says, oh, I'm sorry, I should have called you. We took the tether off him 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to call you and let you know. So now he's no tether. He's already angry at me. He's not in jail, and he's been off his tether for 2 weeks. And I was never notified.
For more information, contact Share It Today at 877-892-2731 or visit shareitnumber2day.com. Share It Today is another source of outreach for the mission of Virtuous Family Community Services, helping build families for opportunities and advantages. Visit us online at www.vfcs.org or email us at help@vfcs.org. DVDs are available for purchase online at shareitnumber2day.com.